welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Samantha Leanne and I talk about books. So today is going to be part one of a two-part series. This isn't a new idea or anything. People do these types of series all the time, but I haven't done them yet, and I've been saying I was going to do them for a while. So if you have watched my channel for any length of time, you know how bad I am at finishing series. So today I'm going to talk about series that I have started reading but haven't yet finished. So series that I need to finish. That's what it's going to be called. Okay. Also, just to clarify, I am only going to be talking about series that have been completely written. So anything that we are still waiting on part 2, part 3, whatever, I am not going to be talking about those today. So for example, like the Illuminae file. So since we're still waiting on that one, you know, that one won't be included, but that kind of thing. These aren't in any particular order, but I am going to talk about series that I actually physically own parts of first, and then we'll talk about the things that I don't own. So, okay. First one that we're going to talk about is the Wolf Hall duology, I guess you could say, because it's a two-part series. This is the second in the series, Bring Up the Bodies. It's by Hilary Mantel, obviously. I listened to Wolf Hall last year, I believe, on audio, so I don't own a physical copy of this, but I found this at the Goodwill for like $3 and grabbed it. Wolf Hall was just okay, but if you've watched me for any length of time, you know that I enjoy historical fiction. So I wanted to go ahead and finish this, and this is actually the winner of the 2012 Man Booker Prize, so I have high hopes, and it's a lot shorter than Wolf Hall. So the second series that I'm going to talk about is, it's changed names a couple of times. I think that we're referring to it as the Grishaverse right now, but it's the Shadow and Bone trilogy. This is the second in the series, Siege and Storm. This is by Leigh Bardugo. Young adult high fantasy series, and I am really enjoying it so far. I am actually about 40% of the way through this book right now. Definitely really enjoying it. Definitely plan on finishing it. I plan on going on to read the Six of Crows duology and the Language of Thorns as well. That's assuming that I don't hate the last book in the series, but I don't foresee that happening. A lot of people really love this series, and like I said, I'm really enjoying it. So next series that I'm going to talk about is the Mistborn trilogy by Brandon Sanderson. I have read book 1, The Final Empire, and book 2, The Hero of Ages. I lied. Book 2 is The Well of Ascension. I have not yet read book 3, The Hero of Ages. Really enjoyed the first book. The second book, The Well of Ascension, was a little bit more political, not as much action, so I did find that one to drag a little bit. However, I am kind of invested in the story at this point, so I do want to see how it ends. And a lot of people really love this series. It's definitely a chunker. So I will get to it at some point, but yeah. The next series is another young adult series, and that is the Chaos Walking trilogy by Patrick Ness. I have read this first one, The Knife of Never Letting Go, and I started the Ask and the Answer. I think that's the second one, right? Yeah. The Ask and the Answer, I did start that one, but I never finished it. This was several years back that I started it. But I do have the full series in these matching covers. So, and I know that they're actually making this into a movie, I believe. So I do want to finish the series sooner versus than later. The next series that I'm going to talk about is the Fairyland series. This is by Catherine M. Valente. And this is, I think, 5 or 6 books. They are fairly short, and I have only read the first one, but I do own the rest of them in the matching hardcovers. And I really enjoyed the writing in this first book. It was really magical. I don't know if this would be considered middle grade because I haven't read a lot of middle grade, so it's either middle grade or young adult, but I really felt like the writing could definitely speak to adults, so I do want to finish this series. Next up is the Wicked series. I think that that's what it's called. I'm not 100% sure, but I did read this book last year. It was either last year or early this year. I did read this, and I definitely enjoyed it. I have the other 3 books in the series. Haven't really heard much about the rest of the series, but I have them, and I liked this a lot more than I was expecting to, so I have high hopes for the rest of the series. And the last series that I'm going to talk about that I actually have like any of the physical copies of is A Song of Ice and Fire. And I know I said that I wasn't going to be including anything that wasn't totally published as of yet, but I still feel like this kind of counts because we have no idea when we're getting the next one. But I have finished the first 3 books. I finished the first 3 books. I still have 2 to go. I planned on finishing it before the end of the year, but you know, these books are so huge and there's so much going on in them that I really just kind of needed a break. So that is why I haven't finished it yet. I'm day drinking. My best friend was over earlier today, and that's actually why I'm filming right now, because we were day drinking and I was showing her how to do makeup, hence my full face of makeup. And I was like, you know what? We can't waste this. We can't waste it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and film. So I'm day drinking. Well, I mean, I guess it's like 5 o'clock at this point, so it's not really day drinking. This is Cupcake Red Velvet wine. It's okay. I mean, it's not like the best red wine that I've ever had, but it's pretty okay. Let's talk about series that I don't have the physical copies of. I've either read them via audio or via ebook or whatever the case may be, but I do have several series of those. So the first one is the Heroes of Olympus series by Rick Riordan. I did read Percy Jackson and the Olympians last year. I believe that I finished that series last December, and then I started the Heroes of Olympus at the beginning of the year, and I just never finished it. I think that I finished like the first 2 books, so I think I still have 3 left. But I really liked the series. It wasn't anything... It wasn't that I wasn't enjoying the series anymore, but I do this thing where I get super obsessed with them and then I burn myself out on it, and I think that's kind of what I did with that universe, because I read one series and then the next immediately after that, and so I think that's why I kind of stopped. So I do plan on finishing that, picking it back up at some point. The next series is the Hannibal Lecter series, and I have read Red Dragon, and I have read Silence of the Lambs. I have not read Hannibal or Hannibal Rising. And I've heard not so great things about Hannibal Rising, but I have read the first 2 books, so I kind of want to read the last 2. I've read both of those on ebook format, and I think that I actually do have Hannibal so far, but I just haven't picked it up yet, so I'll do that at some point. Next series is a series that I do actually own, but I do not have at this house. It's at my mother's, and that is a series of Unfortunate Events by Lemony Snicket, and I think that I've read the first 3 or 4 in that series, and I do not recall how many there are total, but I really loved it. I thought it was cute. They're, you know, cute, fast reads, and sometimes you just kind of need that in your life, so I want to finish those at some point. And the last series that I'm going to talk about is the Outlander series by Diana Gabaldon, I don't know how you say her name. I have read the first 2 books in the series. I believe that there's 9 books total plus a couple novellas. I don't know if she's done publishing them, to be completely honest, but she might be. I don't know. But I really enjoyed the first 2 books, and again, those books are so large, and I just haven't gotten there yet. I am going to be starting a reread of the first book in January with Jess and Christina over at Game of Tomes, Julie from Pages and Pens, and Krista from Books and Jams. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's all of us. I am really excited to start that. It is a reread for me, but the rest of them haven't read it before, so I'm really looking forward to their reactions and what they think of the story. So maybe after I do that reread, I'll be inspired to pick the rest of them up and maybe finish off that series in 2018. So that's part 1 of this series. Have you read any of these series? Have you finished them? Have you started them and then decided not to finish them? Have you started these series and not finished them? Comment down below, let me know your thoughts, feels, opinions, whatever. All of the channels that I talked about will be linked down below. So Julie, Jess and Christina, Krista, all of them will be in the down bar, so you should definitely check them out. As always, if you like what you see and you want to see more, make sure you click thumbs up and hit subscribe if you haven't already. And thank you guys so much for watching. I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.